Hello and welcome to episode 56 of Champion the Gamer, a special one for me indeed, because I'm joined by a kindred spirit, someone as positive as I am, someone as just happy as I am. Rachel, Harry, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Again, buzzing. This has been one I've wanted to do for a long time. I know you know Josh Brown very well, and I said to him, I want Rachel on. This is one of
Yeah,
those
I love Josh Brown. He's what a guy, what a heckin' human.
best hair in the business, possibly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he was. I said to him at the time, I said, "This is going to be so like nice for me because I love Rachel's vibe. I can't wait to have a chat with her." And I followed you for, in not a weird way, about 10 years, 8, 10 years.
No
So having a
way. Oh my
chance,
God.
I know. I'm sorry.
I feel
How long have you
old.
been doing content for? What do you think?
I dabbled since about like 2000 and I'm gonna say 2017 is when I started to dabble. So that has been almost like 10 years.
Hmm.
Um, I got started. I used to work for Game, like the retailer. And my game had like a little sort of handshake with Microsoft, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to do like some streaming." And I was like, "Oh, I am up for that." And that's how I got started. And it was like, "Oh, I like this." And then when I left Game, I was like, oh, "I'm going to still keep doing this." So that's how that happened.
Because had you always wanted to do media or wanted to do content creation? Is that always in your plans, or is it something you sort of joined late?
Not really. I mean, well, when the big if I was to say the big PewDiePie buzz happened on YouTube and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's just playing games and he's like talking over it and he's really fun." Like I was like, "Oh, I'd love to do that." And I like tried, but like I don't think I realized how hard it was like at the time and I sort of thought, "Nah, never mind." But I've always liked sort of drama, like acting. Like I like making people laugh and that sort of stuff. So it was inevitable. It was always going to happen, probably.
Because that was my question was going to be about your background a bit more because we don't really get to see that a lot, especially with people that write a lot that are not on camera. Obviously, you were
Uh,
then on camera, but I mean in terms of just getting to know the person a bit more. Have you always been into sort of TV, media, that kind of thing? Has that always been your thing?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's been video games for me, like literally since I'd say since birth, but like, well, it's a bit of a hyperbole. No, like literally, I was maybe like 6 years old. Like my cousins had a SNES, and I was just like, "This is for me." Um, yeah, I like TV. I like movies as well. Like I'm so big into like all of that, but like it's video games are like my big one, definitely. And then I knew that I'd always wanted to. I went to uni. I studied animation, computer arts and animation, because I thought I was going to be an animator. I was like, right. I got into 3D for a little bit. I got into hand drawn frame by frame for a little bit, and then I did illustration. And then I was like, I think I just want to play video games for a living. So, yeah, I've done it all. Actually, I've done it all.
Because at what point did it sort of turn where you thought I can actually do this for a career now? This could be my thing.
I think, well, I mentioned I did it sort of for game. That was kind of like part of my contracted hours was like I was literally being paid to stream, and I was like, this is cool. But then I realized, if we get like Twitch partner, etc., we can get subscriptions and we get so I was like, I sort of knew I would love to do that one day, but I was never at a position where I could do that full time until, of course, I think my big boom happened when I was working for What Culture, and just from doing streams for them and just mentioning like, oh, I could probably do this, just in my own time, just because, it's never enough. The work hours, the 9 to 5, it was never enough. So I'd go home and like do it at home. And then that sort of started building. And then I got to a point where I was like, yeah, it's time for me to, just go and do it by myself now. It took time. Like it took like 3 years or so to get to that stage. But I'm glad it did because I've never looked back.
Well, because that was my sort of lead on question. So I know you worked for What Culture and everything, and that I imagine gave you more confidence, especially having come from the whole game situation. But like, at what point, or was there ever a point where it became a job to play games to the point where it was like, this is hurting my fun of it, my enjoyment of it, or did that never
Oh.
happen?
Oh my god. See, I'm sorry, I don't have a really good answer to that question because no, it's never felt like a job. I Before I had my baby last year, was a workaholic. Like, I had to make a schedule so I wouldn't stream all day every day, and maybe I'd see my husband at some point. I love content creation. I love like not just streaming, like I have a YouTube channel where I teach people how to play Dark Souls, and I love that. I'm doing all sorts of like art and stuff at the minute. I've always done like merch design and stuff like that. Like literally, I love all of it. It's never felt like a job. There were a couple so see, like that's just working for myself though. When I was working at What Culture, there was a couple days where I came in like, I do not want to edit a video on the top 10 games of 2020. I want to edit a video on the top 10 dogs in gaming. Like I wanted to do fun stuff, but unfortunately when you need to earn a living and when you need to fund a company, you can't just do fun stuff. But even then I enjoyed it. I think if I was ever waking up and being like, I can't be bothered streaming, if I ever cancel stream, right, you know that something's really, really wrong.
I was going to say, because you've got this bundle of energy that is obvious,
I
especially
love
when
it.
you are on camera, and not a lot of people have that. I just wonder where that came from.
Where I got my camera energy? Oh, well, I put makeup on today, so that's where some confidence is coming from that. I
So
don't
did I.
know. Oh, you look amazing. um, what was the question? Sorry, where does my
Yeah, because
confidence come from?
we get a lot of people like myself, I guess, that when we first start making content or making TikToks or Twitch or YouTube, whatever, it's hard to get in front of the camera sometimes to begin with. Some people can
Okay.
take it naturally, but like for someone like yourself, it seems like it's always been this like happy place for you. Has that always been a thing?
I guess, right, you're unlocking childhood memories for me now because when I was a young teenager, let's say, maybe about 14, I wanted a video camera. That's what I wanted. I wanted a video camera. I wanted to make home movies. And me and my sisters and like my cousins and that, we would like make these home movies. I don't know. I just always I mentioned drama. Like I love like acting and stuff like that. I don't know. I love the performative side of it. As for I don't know, I feel like I feel more confident behind camera in my room alone with my dog than I would like standing up in front of a crowd of people in real life. I think the camera is sort of like it's not that big a deal to me because you're kind of safe in your environment, you know?
I've said that though, because someone said to me about me being in front of the camera myself. I'm like, it's easier. Like
Yeah.
I can coach basketball, whatever I can, but if I'm in a social environment with say more than three people, I'm really reserved. I don't like it. But a camera makes it really easy. You're almost like protected by the screen. I feel like.
Yeah, on the keyboard as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm not a
I
keyboard warrior, but yeah, that it's just it's a thing for me that I kind of get. I mean, how I come
mhm.
across is another thing entirely. That's up for the other interpretation. But just the confidence level just is there when I do it. So I kind of get where you're coming from.
I think if anyone is struggling, if you're just like, I just can't press go live, I just can't look at the camera or whatever. Oh God, I've never been in that situation. You can't even say, "Oh, just imagine they're all naked," because you can't see them. Nah, maybe I'll just very gently say that maybe if it's that much of a bother, it's causing you that much anxiety, maybe it's not for you. There are plenty good camless streamers and content creators out there. Maybe it's not for you.
Well,
Not
because
you. I'm saying
yeah, of course.
hypothetical you.
Because to extend that, I think there's a lot of good creators that have started by doing that. Just press
Yeah.
like once and start talking and see what happens. And then once you get going, it just happens, right?
Heck yeah. I was gonna say as well, VTubing is a thing. VTubing is massive. For people's confidence. Like if you don't like being on camera, just get a cute heckin' character.
Yeah. Talk a bit about before we move on to a bit more about that. What are you playing right now? What do you play on a day-to-day basis?
Excuse me, you think I
I
have
know a
time
couple.
for
I'm
gaming?
just saying.
So my full-time job at the minute is looking after my son. He's 6 months old. However, he started to have this really nice habit of falling asleep on my lap for like an hour at a time here and there. So I, with one hand, have been playing World of Warcraft on my laptop, sitting on the couch playing World of Warcraft, just like there, um, which has been tricky. But yeah, I'm fitting that in. I have a PlayStation Portal, which has been wondrous for looking after the baby and that. I got the Oblivion remaster. It's not a remake, it's a remaster. I got the Oblivion remaster. I'm enjoying that. I was playing that 20 years ago. My back. And now I'm playing it again. Oh mate, I started Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Did you try that?
Are you lost yet, or are you still are you getting through it?
Oh no, mate. I had 3 hours on it. I haven't last Friday, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I am like, I've barely touched the surface of it, and I'm obsessed with it, and I can't play it because I don't have any time. And also, I kind of want to do it on stream because it's really a game. I feel like because it's got such a heavy story. I feel like people are enjoying my reactions to it. So I'm like, oh, we'll get it eventually. This Friday, a new game comes out from the makers of Dark Souls. A little thing called Night Rain comes out on Friday, so I'm kind of excited about that. So I don't know when I'll get to play more Expedition 33. We'll see.
Because we've had people on that have got kids or that are, going to have kids or have got really busy work schedules, and trying to find that balance is really difficult. But it's nice to hear that you can find that balance because you make work what you make work, right?
Yeah.
It is. Um, Talk about your love of Dark Souls then, real quick. Where'd it come from? You've been playing since one, I'd imagine, and you've done it. I don't know how many times, but where does Dark
Oh
Souls love
God,
come
I
from?
don't know. Where did it? Oh my God, it was so random because I was just like in the shops. Remember when we used to like go to the shops and look around the shop? And it was when Dark Souls 2 had been released and it was in a game store and they had like the TV screen was showing this like trailer for Dark Souls 2. And I was standing there and I was like, that looks mint. I love knights, swords, sorcery, and dragons, right? But I'd never heard of Dark Souls. And I thought, right, Dark Souls 2, that looks mint. And so I thought, oh, I'd better start with Dark Souls 1 because I haven't played Dark Souls 1. So I picked up the first one and I took it home. I died a few times to the first boss, thinking that you have to beat it with the broken weapon, not realizing that you didn't have to do. And I turned it off and I went to the pub. I was so angry. I was like, I've just wasted my money on this game, and I was like, I'll never go back to that game. But it sort of consumed me. I was at the pub and I was at Mike's friends were there, and I was just sitting sort of quietly to myself, just thinking, I need to conquer this. Like that can't be my Dark Souls experience because it was before Dark Souls was really like massive. I think I don't think it really got massive until Dark Souls 3. It was this wee game that like I think people knew it was hard. Um, but I was just like, I need to conquer this. So I like looked up some tips and it was like, we recommend starting as the pyromancer. So I went back and I restarted it and I beat the boss and I was like, let's go. I don't know. I think for me, it was the feeling of being really rubbish at it because it was for so long and maybe probably still am, and then getting better at it. I was like, this is amazing, this feeling. The creature design, the heckin' the dragons, the bosses, everything is just so brutal and unforgiving that I just fell in love with it. It's like, I don't know, it is captivating.
Because I feel like the likes of yourself would have helped ignite the fire underneath it with streaming. Because I feel like Dark Souls came bigger when streaming was becoming a real thing. Because that
Yeah.
whole culture, right, has really changed that narrative. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, because I liked Dark Souls, but it was never my entire personality. I was always like a World of Warcraft was my entire personality for like my whole flipping life. But it was, you're right, it's when I started streaming and I thought, let's do a Dark Souls run, because this would have been like my second or third playthrough at this stage. And I was like, let's do this because I like this game. And it was like I was able to sort of teach people things, and they were like in chat being like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" And they were able to help teach me things. And I just got really addicted to this whole like back and forth of getting good together. Sorry, I have to keep an eye on her. Getting good together was this addictive, like amazing thing on, especially on Twitch. And it really did blow up for me. And I just sort of kept going with it. I was like, right, we're going to do some challenge runs. We're going to do this and that. And then when Elden Ring came out, I was like, right, I'm in a great position now to just like hit this run in. And it's so weird. Like it just sort of happened.
Because streaming for me has done that for a lot of games. It's got a lot of bad connotations, streaming in a weird way. But the positive
Yeah.
side of it is it's kept a lot of games alive a lot longer. Has
Oh
there been
yeah.
any other games that you've played that you've gone back to because of streaming?
Yeah. I've played Portal quite a lot. You know the original Portal? Well, I was streaming that a lot because I was speedrunning it, which was really fun to sort of show my audience the process of like I know nothing and learning it bit by bit, and then it eventually got my PB down to 18 minutes, which I thought was very impressive. So I played a lot of Portal. Another one that I quite like going back to is Subnautica.
Mm.
Um, any Pokemon game. I stream WoW now and then. I don't really like streaming WoW, but I go back now and then. Um, Games that are better on stream. gosh, my brain just keeps going. Dark Souls. Dark Souls. Yeah, I can't think. Sorry.
But I think in a weird way, it's good because it means there's so many, I think. Because
Mhm.
I think streaming has got this like, especially now when so many people do it, it's got this
Yeah.
like this fear of like, oh, it's a thing that's just not ruining gaming, but you know what I'm trying to say. Whereas actually, there's a big positive side of it where it's keeping games alive and giving them new leases of life, and it's connecting a lot of people to a lot of people. So I'm glad that when we see
Definitely.
people like yourself do it, it's given this really positive like glow. And so I want to just champion you for that a little bit because like,
Oh.
the energy you have and to do what you do, especially being a mum now, bless you, like it's going to be this big challenge that I think when people see you do it and see you overcome it, it's a really big like great thing. So credit to you for that.
I hope so because I do think if you love something, you make it work. You figure it out.
Are you hoping that you're going to be able to pass down your gaming gene?
Oh, I'll be devastated if he is not interested in gaming. I was like, right, if I can pick, he's into to two things, right? I pick gaming and I pick Pokemon. Please be into gaming and Pokemon, son. My husband is more, he's not that much of a gamer. He makes games, but he doesn't really play them. He's more like music, movies, and football. That's his three things. So, in like genetics, where he's passed down those three things, and I've passed down, say, gaming, Pokemon, and I don't know, something else. Like which ones are Max gonna get? Oh, who knows? I hope he likes gaming. I do need a player too.
Has there been just sort of almost wrap this up a little bit because I want to get on to you a bit later, but
Sure.
has there been any kind of like challenges you've come across that you didn't expect or that you found tiresome that you didn't think you'd have?
With having a child.
No, okay, yeah, let's go with that. But I meant in terms of streaming in
Oh, in
particular.
terms of so streaming, I mentioned, yeah, I had to set a schedule. I had to be very strict with my schedule. Not because I struggled to turn up, but because I would want to turn up all the time. Energy for me. So my streams are really, really high energy. I don't put 110% in every stream. Most streams are 100%. But a whole child ago, I used to every now and then I'd put real effort in, like now and then, maybe once a month, and that gets really tiring. That is exhausting. Like the type of stream I liked to do, past tense, because I can't really do it anymore. Just really high energy. So a struggle for me was I just can't keep up with the big boys that do 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day. I can't do it. How the frick do they do it? I can't. So like my limit tended to be about 4 to 6 hours was my like that was my stream. So that was a big challenge for me was just managing to be on for all that time in a day. Now the challenge is actually having that amount of time in the day. But yeah, it's that was definitely the biggest one for me. Equipment was not so bad, actually. If I can brag for a second, I did very well because I got Twitch partnered and my channel blew up. And then the next month, we went into lockdown and it was just, do you know what? It was terrible. I should not joke because it was a terrible time. I was very depressed. I drank a lot of rum, but it was very, very good for business. I had a really, really good couple of years and it allowed me to upgrade. I upgraded everything and I've got this amazing setup, which does make things easier. I've got a really nice camera, I've got two monitors, got some nice lights, got a stream deck. I've got what's that called? A mixer. I've got all these amazing things. So that thankfully I feel like I did it at the right time because equipment has never been a problem for me. Um, Internet as well, blessed with staying in a good place with good internet. Yeah. I'm being too positive. I'm meant to talk about hardships.
No, no, no. You've obviously made something out of what you started with, and whatever point that was is yours. But
Yeah.
it's going into the whole lockdown thing is another story entirely
Oh,
for
yeah.
everybody else because that was a time, wasn't it?
I
Yeah,
admit that it was very positive for streaming. It was very
yeah.
good for people like me who were taking people's minds off things. But then as soon as the stream went off, I'd be like,
I mean, if you could provide that positivity for 4 to 6 hours for somebody else, then you've done your job.
it
And
was
you might
good.
feel great about that. So that's wonderful stuff, and we'll get into that later because I've got some questions about it specifically. But we'll move on to hot takes and sort of debates. Now, I've posed this as if you've got a hot take for us, you can throw it out there, or I've definitely got one specific for you. Have you got any gaming hot takes?
Okay. I get asked this question a lot. And the one I always go on with, right, is right. If you think that Dark Souls 2 is bad, then you are bad at Dark Souls 2.
I could see it coming, but I'm excited it has. Can you explain why that is? I've got, because I'm doing, for those who can't see me, I'm doing a swivel of my finger because it's the whole 360 thing. But yeah, can you explain yourself a little bit?
That is literally, it's literally my only hot take where it's just like, stop pooping on Dark Souls 2, right? It's middle child syndrome, right? Because like, just forgetting about Demon Souls for a minute because there's a lot wrong with that, but it's brilliant. But yeah, forgetting about that for a sec. So you've got Dark Souls, which was like, oh, this is amazing. Let's make a sequel. The sequel was a bit pants. And then they made Dark Souls 3, which was the fan service one. So people look at 2 and they think, oh, it's Garbo, just because there's a few things wrong with it. And I'm just like, right, well, either you've not played it or you're just really bad at it and you should get good, right? Because they hurt my feelings, man, when they when they say that it's bad. But no, I struggle with hot takes because I'm just like, oh, you think that game's bad? Oh, okay.
That's why I was so excited for this because I thought there's even, I won't say where it was, but there was a clip of you saying, "I've not got any. If you like it, great. If you don't, don't."
That's fine.
Yeah.
I like, and I'm sure someone asked me this, and I was like, do you know what? My favorite BioShock game is BioShock Infinite, and they go, "Whoa." And I'm like, what? How is that a hot take?
Okay, so with the whole Dark Souls thing, right? I make it. I don't really play Dark Souls for full context. I don't really play it that much, but like it's the Final Fantasy IV thing for me because Final Fantasy IV is completely different to the rest of them. I mean, it's a Final Fantasy game, but it's different. It's like a dungeon crawlery type vibe, and I think that's what Dark Souls 2 is. It's the same game but different, and people just
Yeah.
want to crap on that for no reason. So I'm completely behind you. Um, I actually have one for you though. I posed it to Josh, and he had no idea what it was about. You're obviously a big Pokemon fan, right?
Yeah, massive, yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, I enjoy Pokemon. It's one of my things.
Oh
But
no.
I feel like we're at the point now where we're 25, 30 years in, and we've had our fill of Pokemon almost, where we need now a horror version. Where do you sit on that?
Wait, I would play the crap out of that. Like,
Because I get told all the time, like, oh, you can't, it's too gory for kids. Like, no, the kids that played it 30 years ago are now 30 years older. I'm one of them. Give me a
yeah.
Marvel What If version of the Pokemon series.
And not every game in the series has to be for kids. Like, I can't think of other games that, like, look at right, the Mario series, right? And then they made like Paper Mario. Paper Mario is not for kids. Like, so Pokemon, horror Pokemon, right? Lavender Town. Pokemon, or what if they just made like Nuzlocke an actual game mode and like your Pokemon could get beat up and die? Like, geez.
Because I've said if you're in the Pokemon world, it's lovely and it's beautiful, and you've got these stunning creatures everywhere, and there's wonderful waterfalls and all these gyms that aren't gyms. And everything. There's always a different place, right? If you walk around the corner and there's a random Jigglypuff just sat there, it's gonna scare the bejesus out of you, innit? Just a
Yeah,
random
or
Jigglypuff
like
just sat there.
what's the really like Mr. Mime? Like it could potentially be very scary, I think, if they wanted it to be. But it's Nintendo, they don't want it to be.
Do you not think Nintendo's got its own issues though, and it could solve some of it by doing a different slant on something?
Nintendo, you have issues. Make a horror Pokemon game. Sorry, she's annoying me. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that would be fantastic. I am all for like, I do think the gaming industry is on its arse at the minute, if I can say arse.
Say what you like, I can edit it
It's
out.
on its arse. So people aren't really taking risks. We're seeing a lot of like remasters, remakes, etc., because they're safe and they make money. So unfortunately, I think something like that would be a risk. But Game Freak are, I'm sorry, but Game Freak are, they piss me off at the minute because I feel like every Pokemon game gets worse and worse. I'm sorry. That's a hot take. There you go. They're getting worse. Scarlet and Violet, although they did very well with the story element of it, it just runs like trash. So they're not really taking risks at the minute. And I understand why, but I wish they would.
But you think we've had the same game for 30 years. Granted, you've got Arceus. Granted, you've got Go. What was that other one called? The precursor thingamajiggy. Like, there's been some games that have come out that are great and different, but come on, man, they're all the same game. There's gonna be something a bit different.
Just, I don't even care if it's the same game. I just want it to not freeze and lag and oh.
We Yeah, I'm glad you're on my side there because I was hoping you would be. We'll move on to coaches' questions. Now, this is my chance to throw out two, three, or four, depending on time, of my now infamous questions on my page, and throw them at the guests in front of me. Now, I asked these questions on TikTok, if you're not aware already, just general, just gaming questions that can be slightly random. And so I
Okay.
thought I'd throw some your way. Now, is there a part of gaming you've got zero interest in?
I guess sports games, not really my thing, but sports are not really my thing in real life. FPS, I'm not super into FPS either, really, unless it's like an FPS that has a story. I just think like Call of Duty and all that are so boring. But I loved Halo back in the day. I don't know. Yeah.
I quite like the argument that because I've had someone on there before to answer that question. They've said there's actually nothing. Because as much as I don't like a certain genre of game or a certain series, I'm not saying I'd never try it.
True, true. I tried a lot of new releases for when I worked at Game, like literally every new release we'd stream it, I'd play it for a couple hours and I did play like the new COD and I would play like NBA 2K or whatever and you know what? I made it fun for 2 hours and 2 hours only.
Well, because a lot of it, like I think of I'm not an American football fan, but like a
Mhm.
Mutant League, it's something that's completely random, like a slimy Mutant League NES game. And I'm like,
Like Blood Bowl.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or where the game is not Blitzball. It's Blitzball in Final Fantasy. Just the whatever. There's ways of making you play a genre that you're not necessarily used to.
Yeah.
But I'm playing Baldur's Gate right now. I've never done tabletop, and I'm playing Baldur's Gate right now, and I think I'm loving it to bits. So I'd
Right.
say I would encourage people to never have a zero interest in something. I mean, you can obviously not necessarily like something, but don't have a zero
Mhm.
interest because it really shut you off.
Definitely, like, I was talking to a friend who she just does not do turn-based, just not interested, nope. And then I was like, "Yeah, but you should try Clear Obscure, though. You should try Clear Obscure." And she's like, "I acknowledge it's pretty good." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so next one is which game or series deserves a prequel?
Oh, a prequel! Ooh, oh. Oh. See, I've been, like, super into I'm rewatching Last of Us Part 2 at the minute. I would have loved to have seen more about, like, the world of The Last of Us, like, as it went, like, down. That would be really cool. Um, oh, man, there's so potentially so many good answers to this, but my brain isn't really working. I'm sleep deprived. I'm gonna go with The Last of Us. Yeah, for sure. Or, like oh my god. Can I get, like, a second just to do you edit these, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just having to think.
Means
Uh,
I've asked good questions. So I would always say a Bioshock for me. I've read the books, and I think the Andrew Ryan story, him coming up early, would be good, and
that would
even as
be
a kid, perhaps.
cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, man.
Because you always get sequels to things. You always get, and you do get some prequels, but they're sort of plugged into the story. Whereas an
Yeah.
actual prequel from a different perspective, I think it's really interesting.
I guess because most games, like, they set up they set the scene in the game, so it's like there's not much to tell before the game. Yeah, BioShock's a really good show.
Okay. Have you got, because we're generations different, and there's kids nowadays that have no idea what this even mean. But have you got
Oh, no.
a horror lost save file story?
A lot
That's a yes. I felt your pain there come through the screen.
Oh, I do, I've got one in particular, and it was a oh god, I think about it and cringe because my pride and joy when I was, late teens was my Pokemon Soul Silver save file. I was getting every Pokemon to level 100 in this save file and just playing it again and again just 'cause I flipping loved Soul Silver. And intoxicated one night when I was at uni, I thought, "Do you know what would be fun if we just started all over and just replayed Soul Silver from the beginning? That would be fun." And I restarted it. And then I woke up, of course, and went, "Oh, my 600-hour save file." Like, it wasn't even an accident. I did it fully aware of what I was fully aware of what I was doing. I really regret that so much.
Because kids just don't get it, do they? They
They
will
don't
never
get
ever
it.
be able to grasp that. Because I spoke to certain because I work in a school, right? But a lot of kids say, "Oh, I lost so and so," but they lose it to the cloud and get it back. Now,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not the same. I've not lost a lifetime of work here just to get it back again. It's not the same.
Or like when you delete a game off your console, it keeps the save data. That never used to be a thing.
How many of us have actually lost memory cards? I definitely have. Friends
Yeah.
taking it from us. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first got my PlayStation 2 because I wanted Spyro. Didn't quite understand that there was PlayStation 2 memory cards and there was PlayStation 1 memory cards. So I would just replay the same level of Spyro every time I wanted to play it because I could not save my data.
That
And
was GTA 3 for me. Yeah.
I just accepted
Yeah.
it.
Because I told a friend of mine this. I played GTA 3 to the end of the first island about 5 times before I could save it. Because by the time I got there, tea's ready, and I had to go and have dinner.
And we would never leave our console on overnight because mum and dad wouldn't like that. No, no way.
No, my fingers aren't crossed. Then I didn't do that. That's
I
fine.
would never.
Which game is better the second time around?
Oh, it's really boring and say Dark Souls. Elden Ring. The second time around. Um, okay. I'm sure I was thinking about one the other day where I was like, you have to play it twice. Oh, which game is better the second time around? I'm gonna say a kind of a random one and say Undertale.
Okay.
Yeah, because I love Undertale. I feel like it's kind of uncool to love Undertale now because it's got such a rabid fan base. Um, but if you're playing that for the second time and you kind of know what happens, you can be a little naughty and just kill everyone if you want. That's a good one. um,
I think a lot of games now are replayable. That's
oh
one thing
yeah.
I would argue. Because there was a period where I think games were sort of they're churned out so regularly and so often now that kids can get lost in them and get lost in them. But actually, there is a lot of games now you can replay and get more out of. And that wasn't the
Hmm.
case for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to be that girl that just literally just talks about Dark Souls all the time, but like Elden Ring, for example, like a game like that has so many missable things. Character quest lines are the big one. That is always going to be better the second time you play it because you're going to be better at the bosses and you'll look for the characters that you missed the first time around. I promise I play other games other than just Dark Souls and Elden Ring.
Okay, so other than Dark Souls, what is a game you revisit once a year?
Subnautica. I flippin' love Subnautica. I think I could just play that over and over again, really. I do at least once a year. Find an excuse to play Subnautica. So this year it was I've got a PlayStation Portal and I was looking for games that like it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit laggy because it's a streaming thing. So I was playing through Subnautica because I thought, oh, I'll pick up the platinum trophy. So that was my excuse to replay Subnautica was, oh, we'll get the platinum on PlayStation. Oh, it's just so good. And again, that is a hi Evie. Hiya, can you see her?
Yeah.
That is an infinitely replayable game for me because like I'll know the story quite well, but like I'll almost like sort of speedrun it. And it always finds a way of like screwing with me every single time. It's always got emergent gameplay that ends up being really funny. And I'll have fun with like I'll build a silly base and stuff like that. I'll do it slightly differently every time. I once did a playthrough where I had no submarine and I just swam everywhere. So that was really fun. Little challenge here and there. I love it.
Which video game villain deserves their own game?
Which video game villain deserves their own game? So many. So many. Oh, right. Because we've been talking a lot about Pokemon, right? How good would it be if you had a Team Rocket game? A flipper. Fans have been asking for this since we were kids. Team Rocket game. Red and blue. You get to the bridge, Nugget Bridge, right? You get to the end, and he's like, "Would you like to join Team Rocket?" And you say, "Well, you meant to say no." But if you say yes, it doesn't. It's red herring. It doesn't matter if you say yes. He goes, "Are you sure?" Oh, never mind. And battles you anyway. What if there was the ability to say yes, and you just had this Team Rocket game, and you were the villain? Oh, that'd be so good.
I've mentioned that before, and I think that you need it because they're somehow not fleshed out enough. I don't understand how it's possible.
That should be the horror game. The Pokemon horror game. You steal people's Pokemon. There's kids crying. You took my Eevee. Please take my Evie. She's been annoying.
She is beautiful. Okay, so there's a couple more then. So what is one thing in gaming or in content creation you're yet to do, but you plan to?
Oh, oh, oh God, my like gaming and content creation bucket list is pretty low. Like if you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said hosting a panel at TwitchCon, but been there, done that now. I would say it's like very, very silly little dream, but like I'd love to progress to the point where I could apply for Twitch ambassador. I'm from the UK. I'm not just from the UK though, I'm from Scotland, and I feel like it's an underrepresented country and group of countries on Twitch. I do think Twitch UK and Ireland is they're good, they're big. We got a lot of opportunities, but I do think that we could do with a lot more UK ambassadors. So I'd love to get to the point where, you know, I'm able to apply for that, but that's very far in the future, if ever. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
Because you obviously you had goals when you first started, I'd imagine. How quickly did it turn into this is actually could be a viable career for me, and then I can set loftier goals? Was that a really quick transition for you?
Yeah, I was always kind of I guess nervous about goals. I was surrounded by other creators who were like, "I want a Twitch partner. I'm 41, I'm 42, I'm 43 out of 75," and they would be like pushing and going for it. But I'm very like anxious, very easily stressed person. So I don't know, I never really was like, this is my it is your goal, but it's not like at the forefront of my mind the whole time. It's more just like, yeah, hopefully we'll get there eventually. But oh yeah, I always wanted Twitch partner. I always want, oh my god, the tick, the little tick. Oh, it's so good. That was the big goal. And then it was like when I got that, the next goal was like, oh, I want to be full time. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to like make a living wage or whatever just from streaming. So yeah, it you do just like keep going. And my goal now is like I want to just keep my channel alive while I'm keeping my son alive. That's the goal at the minute. It's a humble goal.
When do you think you're able to get back to more of a schedule, do you think?
When does he go to nursery? I don't know. So I said to myself, right, if he starts sleeping at night, if I start sleeping at night, I could do anything. I honestly feel like, see, before, like last year, if I ever complained about being tired, just slap me. I did not know what tired was. Like, if I was able to sleep now, I think I could conquer the world. Like, I would just stream all the time. Um, I could do so I could look after him during the day, and then my husband could have him at night, and I could stream at night. Oh, that would be so good. But who knows? Apparently, it's like 6, 7 months now, and showing no signs of sleeping overnight. So who knows? I'll give it a year. We'll see.
And then finally, then just real quick, I suppose, because I'd imagine we probably touched on it already, but what is the most sentimental game to you?
Sentimental. Oh man. Games that make me cry, or games that mean a lot to me.
By the
Um.
way, just on that, you've made me cry several times.
Oh,
Be-
sorry.
because of you, I played To the Moon, and I've never stopped crying.
Ah!
I've never stopped crying about it since.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I have that sitting for the Nintendo Switch. I got the limited run.
Mm.
Got the like special edition. It's still sealed. I can't bring myself to open it just because I know what's waiting for me if I open it. That is such a special game. That was my first big cry on stream that I shared with my community. You can still see the video of it. I think it's on the internet somewhere. And I've just got this potato camera and I'm just like that means a lot to me. That's really To the Moon's really sentimental. Um, does it have to? No, it's not necessarily on as content, but a game that I played like off stream that I just got so consumed by that I feel like there's something in this game that is going to trigger everyone differently, and it was Spiritfarer. Oh my god! So my granny has dementia, like bad dementia, and there's a character with similar ailments in Spiritfarer, and it just sort of made me, it's but it's such a positive game. It's such a sad but positive game that I just sort of associate it with people that we've loved and lost, in my life, and that game means a lot to me as well because it makes me think about it in a more sort of hopeful way. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, I had a guy called Boxiati, and he mentioned Spiritfarer, and it brings up immediately this whole like you can always play it in your own way. You can imprint your own version of each character to a person in
Yeah.
your life, or it's such a strong-willed thing there. And to me, it shows how strong games can be, because it's quite a simple, dare I say, simple concept, really, but it's such a beautiful game and so well done and so well told. So I'm glad to hear it sort of hit you as well. But it's something that games can do. Um, let's bring the energy back. We can go with create a spotlight now. This is your chance to shout out either creators you really enjoy, or if you don't mind want to do that, that's completely fine. But just give us an idea of the type of content you enjoy and why you enjoy it.
Okay, I'm a big lover of speedrun content. I love speedruns. So there's various like games that I follow and a few creators that run them. For example, probably my favorite speedrun game I like to watch is Super Mario 64. So there's various runners like Cheese. I like Cheese, he's great. But I also really like people who make videos talking about speedrunners. Like I really like Carol Jobst, he's great. I think he's been in the media lately and not necessarily for good things. But if you haven't heard of him, he's fantastic. He's got one of those voices that's just like hypnotizing. I really like him. Just he'll talk about a game that I don't really care about, but I will love the video. You know, think those are the best creators. Um, totally different. I also really like horror content. My favorite horror channel is Dead Meat. Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Just like they do a series called The Kill Count, where they just sort of like very humorously go through a movie and be like, oh, that's him dead and that's her dead. It was just, it's sort of like a movie summary, but with a twist, and they've got behind the scenes stuff. I really like them. As for like stuff on Twitch, I more watch like my friends more than I watch like big creators. Like, so just like people in my community, like if they're streaming and like my mods, if they're streaming, I watch them because they're all fantastic. And I prefer like a sort of small community atmosphere like on Twitch. But a couple big Twitch streamers I really like watching. I really like Lobos Jr. He's a Dark Souls streamer. Lemmy, my friend Lemmy. He's a Scottish comedian. I love watching Lemmy. Um, and there's this lassie called Annie who plays WoW as well, Annie Fuchsia. Yeah, I love her too. She's great.
Because if there was because obviously they're all different people, different kinds of people, and they do different things. But if there was a through line of those, a common thread, what's that common thread that makes you or makes them watchable to you?
What in people I like watching? Different things. I guess humor. Humor is a big thing for me. Um, and also like skills in gaming. Like I do I don't know. I love to watch a good fail, but I feel like I more prefer watching like an absolute pro. Like so like with speedrunning, I don't really want to watch someone learning to speedrun. I want to watch someone getting world records. Do you know what I mean? So I guess yeah, being good at games or being entertaining, being funny is a big thing for me.
Because I'm always keen to ask like content creators like yourself, like how do you like when you finish doing the content yourself, how easy is it to then jump back in and watch somebody else? Not the sense of I like them or not, but do you want to switch your brain off a bit and step away from it a bit longer, or are you still invested in the whole content side of things, just watching somebody else?
I'm not so much now because my brain is just like so soup at the minute. But before like when I would finish my stream and raid, I would like just take everyone to excuse me, generally like one of my friends' channels. But I would raid someone I was interested in watching and then I'd sit and watch them for a bit. Um But no, I kind of I always have something going on, like, on my phone, like, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm cooking, I'll have a video on, if I'm, like, doing my hair, I'll have a video on. I'm sort of painfully always plugged in and always thinking like, "Oh, they're doing that, I could do that." Like, just always plugged into it, which I realize now that I'm admitting that probably isn't the best thing to be. But I have other hobbies that disconnect, so I do my bit.
So then switch it then and do the bit that no one likes to do. But if you had to sort of champion yourself a bit, as the title suggests, why should someone be following you?
I am actually very good at games, right? No, I'm not the best gamer. I'd say I'm very much above average. I'm very much above average. But my whole thing is like I love for it to be a conversation, for it to be a back and forth. Like it's not just me on stream, it's me and you kind of thing. So, and everything's a joke with me. I'm always trying to make people laugh, and um I do take an interest. Like there's some people, right? And I consider them really, really close friends, and I really like hanging out with them. So, I'm always for if that sounds good to you, then that's what I'm into. But yeah, no, I think people should follow me because I'm really good at Dark Souls.
And then some, right? Because someone said earlier they're not a pro at Tomb Raider, but they play Tomb Raider every day. So that's more than me. So you're obviously a pro.
I
Because
beat Elden Ring with my butt.
I wasn't made for that.
I did.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
That took a turn.
I did. It was hard.
Yeah. How?
There's an Ash of War called something Stump of War or something, and you sit on stuff. Did you think I used my actual butt?
No, but it was just the phrasing. I was trying to determine what's happening here. Really.
I was trying to trap you.
Because my thing with you is I've always said that like it's one thing for people to be positive and energetic and bubbly and everything, but I gravitate to people that are like that, but have the ability to also keep it real and say I'm not always like that. There's times when I don't want to do it, I don't want to be involved, or I want to control. So to have that balance is always key. Because if someone's always presenting this really happy-go-lucky, boom, 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 like sort of thing, it's great, lovely, but then when do you ever shut off? Like when do you ever switch off? To just see that person be the real person means a lot to me because I'm a bit like that. So, I want to say to you, thank you for doing that because it means a lot to everyone that watches you. But
Oh,
um,
brilliant.
yeah, I think for me as well, it's one of those things where I would suggest people go and check you out at least once because you're one of those sort of people that have this gravity. Like, because you said earlier about people that don't necessarily do things that you enjoy to do, like certain
Mm.
games or whatever, but the person themselves draws you in. Because if you're scrolling through TikTok or Twitch or whatever it is, and you see someone and think that person's interesting, doesn't matter what the content is,
Yeah.
they've got you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'll sit around for a bit longer to see what they're doing, and then maybe you might like what they're doing. Who knows? But you've got that quality. Do you feel that in yourself? Do you feel you've got that gravity for yourself?
I do, right. Oh, God, you're right. It's hard, but I do believe that I am able to make pretty much anything entertaining. I've got people in my community that don't even like Dark Souls, but they turn up to every stream. I do think I'm quite good at that. Yeah. Like no matter what I'm playing, I'll find a way of say if it's something like World of Warcraft, I feel like that's the perfect game for like if you like World of Warcraft, great, but if you don't, you really don't, you know? People that don't know it are not interested in it. But I think I am able to say, oh, this is what we're doing, guys. By the way, this is what this means, and we're just gonna go and try and do this, and it's really hard to do, or like whatever. I'll always sort of I'll always be explaining for as if people have no idea what I'm doing. And I do think I'm quite good at that, no matter what I'm playing. And I feel myself going red.
Why we do it? Because I think it's important people recognise how great they are. So you've obviously done in the past. Sorry, so you've obviously already done like you've written for websites and you've done video editing and videos and podcasting, all kind of good stuff. Is there anything that you would give to someone for advice if someone wants to get into that industry or is interested about it? Like, what advice should you give them to get started?
This is so wild. I was thinking about this just this morning, actually, because I'm currently trying a new business venture. We'll see if it goes anywhere, but I'm starting to design like stationery and stickers and notepads and stuff like that. So it's completely different to what I'm doing. And I was like, if I was to say to someone doing the opposite, like coming into my industry, like what would I say to them? That's so weird. I was literally just thinking about that. And what I came to in my head was that 5 years ago, things were very different. Like now things are very different. Um, the industry is not what it was. And back then it was all about diversify your income, diversify your content. You should be on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, etc. You should be on everything. But now my biggest advice for anyone who's wanting to get into this or is just like in it but doesn't really know what they're doing is that don't diversify, focus on one or at most two things, right? And this is not just me talking because I'm overwhelmed by life at the minute. It's definitely, I think it is the play, because if you're able to put everything into one platform, Twitch, for example, right? I'm not saying stream 7 days a week. I'm saying stream 3 days a week. And then the other 4 days, plan your streams, plan special streams, reach out to other creators for stream together or whatever. Like, focus really on one thing rather than thinking, oh, I better do this, better do this. Because if, from experience, all the little things that you don't really care about doing, it comes across that you don't really care about it. You're just doing it because you think you have to do it. Like I really tried with TikTok for a while, and TikTok was actually going really well for a while, but I was just doing it because I felt like I had to do it. I wasn't really that into it. I didn't have the energy for it because all my energy was going into Twitch because that paid the bills. And YouTube because I liked doing it. So my advice definitely is focus on one or at most two things. And I think that will stand you good in 2025 and beyond.
Because I think a lot of people, their issue isn't necessarily the love of it or the drive even, it's the overdoing it to begin with.
Yes.
I remember listening to someone years ago as a basketball podcast, but he said, if you're going to do a podcast or you're going to do any kind of content, start once a week. So
Yes.
you can get it out then. And then if you promise you're doing 4 times a week and then start missing one every now and then, it becomes a churn. So don't overpromise yourself or people that are watching you because it becomes a drag then.
Yeah, definitely starting slow. Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like you've got this comfortability now in who you are, or have you always been a I know who I am person? Did content bring you that?
No, I don't have anything profound here. I am who I've always been. I do think, it has inflated my ego a little bit. Like, because I always knew that I was good fun, and I always knew that I could make friends easily, and I knew that I was good at games and stuff. But like, content creation confirmed that. I had other people suddenly saying, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you are." So it was like, yeah, it gave me a bit of an ego. But no, I don't think it's changed me. I think I'm just me. And I do think, like you said, like you can tell. Maybe that's why things like sort of took off for me. I think you can tell when someone's being themselves and when someone's being what they think they have to be.
Because there's a lot of people that, I mean, take TikTok for example, that do pickup videos or whatever, and they'll go out and they'll be buying stuff that they can't necessarily afford straight away for the likes and the comments. But then after like 6 months, they're gone because they're broke or they've got nothing to do. It's like, what are you doing? You just ruin your love for gaming, your love for content, and whatever. Just pace yourself a bit.
Hmm.
Because I think a lot of people that aren't necessarily that comfortable in front of the camera or don't know who they are as a person, they rush into things and hope there's this really quick, what do I want? Like people can affirm for them who they are. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but just go gradually with it because that will come in time, I think.
I do think it's quite sweet. I've had more than once, I've had someone say, oh, my nephew or my niece or whatever, they want to be a content creator. And I'm like, how old are they? And they're like 7. I'm like, no. It's this big thing that everyone thinks they can do. And people who have disposable income are very quick to say, like, I want the best camera, I want the best mic and all that. And then they struggle to press go live. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Stop.
And then, because one of my sort of almost final questions was going to be about kids and about them growing up in this sort of environment because I take the internet as completely like an ocean that's completely negative and toxic, but there's little pockets of spaces of positivity. So my job is to be on a boat somewhere out of the way, jump into the positive bit, then jump out again, and that way you get the best experience. Are
Mhm.
you are you worried about what your child might get into early? Are you already thinking about how you might manage their exposure to the internet and content and everything?
We have a lot of tools available as parents to help with that. So I'm not nervous. It just requires a bit of research really. I think because I am someone who is really plugged in to the internet, Twitch, YouTube, etc., media in general, movies, games and that, because I have an interest in it, I will be able to judge better than say a parent that has no interest in it as to whether this is safe for him or not. I do think that is key. I think I'm not nervous because I just will be like, oh, is this suitable for him? I'll check it out first and I'll find out. Whereas I think maybe some parents who aren't interested, that's maybe where that goes wrong. I don't know. But no, there's definitely a lot of tools available to help, like screen time as well as censorship and stuff like that. I'm not nervous at all, but maybe I'm being naive. Maybe. I don't know.
No, it's a fair conversation. People should be looking at someone like yourself for that guidance. Before we wrap this up, then, you've been episode 56, which in itself is wild to me. Um,
Hey.
I know it's crazy. You're not necessarily aware of this, but we started this a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, and I was like, I'll put 4 or 5 out and see how we get on. I know, right? And then I put the 4 or 5 out, and I was like, I'll do one a week or once every whatever it is the schedule becomes. And then before I knew it, I had one every Monday to Friday for the next 4 weeks. I was like, Jesus. So yeah, that was
I thought you'd been going for years. I thought like
nope.
mate, that's impressive. That's a huge amount of content now. That's
It
delicious.
is. I say it's tiring, but it isn't because you like I say if you love it, you love it. You know. Is there anything before we go though that you want to finish with? Do you want to plug yourself a little bit? What your handle is, where people can find you?
Oh, I think people are sick of me plugging myself and going on about how good at games I am. I do think just it's really important with the gaming landscape at the minute being what it is. If I get to say one thing at the end of this, is please buy and play indie games and AA games. Get Clear Obscure, Expedition 33, play that. Get that heckin' get Split Fiction. Oh, what a game! Play that. If you are a gamer, if you want to be a real gamer, play indie games because oh my god, there's so many hidden gems. The gaming industry needs more of them and less churned out slop. I'm sorry, I'm not naming any names. But yeah, I definitely want to champion that just as my final thing. And I wanted to shout out Split Fiction. I forgot to do that earlier. But just things like, I don't know, freaking Hollow Knight, right? Oh, do you know how long I've been waiting for Silk Song? Some time now. So please get that when it comes out and just yeah, support indie games. If you want to oh right, I'm just gonna say a few, right? Just a few. Okay, right. You should get Dave the Diver, you should get Dredge, you should get oh, what's that? Jotun? Is it just called Jotun? Oh, that was quality. Could you say is no Ori and the Blind Forest isn't indie because it's Microsoft. Play more of these kind of games, guys. Thank you.
But wouldn't you? To me, if you say Ori, it sounds like it's an indie game. It feels an indie game.
I'm pretty sure Microsoft published it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure, but you should play that as well.
I guess how do we define indie now? Is that this next question?
I
Yeah.
guess.
But yeah, so are you still don't rage quit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Where
never
does
saw
that
the
come
point
from?
in
I've always wanted to know because you must have a really like calm disposition or something. Because where does I don't rage quit come from?
well, like Rage Quit is like
Yeah, yeah.
is a thing. So it was inspired by that first day that I got Dark Souls and I binned it and then I came back to it. And the whole idea is like keep going, keep trying, you can do it. Don't rage quit. I had a jingle for a while. It's keep trying, you can do it. Don't rage quit. Yeah, so it came from Dark Souls. I get a lot of people coming in like, hey, I get it. And then I got a lot of people who are like, rage don't quit. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. So it's kind of like one of those things. Do you have tattoos?
No.
It's kind of like having a tattoo that's kind of like an obscure thing that not everyone's going to get. But if someone gets it, instant friends. So the name is a bit like that. When people get it, instant friends.
Because I've always understood it. I just wonder where it came from. Because like, was it a nickname you had as a kid? Like I just like But
Oh, right. No, so I was thinking about what I wanted for my tag, and I wanted my name in it, and I wanted something positive, and I wanted it to be tied to gaming, to Dark Souls, and I thought it was like, this is mint. So yeah,
nice.
there you
All
go.
right. We will end it here then. This has been absolutely tremendous. I'll say I've followed you for a very long time, and I'm keen for people to see your page if they haven't already by some miracle, because you've been a shining light for the industry and all that kind of different stuff. And I won't glaze you too much before we go, but I want to get that out there now because I think it's important. Don't be getting plushy now. We've been through all the good parts before.
I'm a worm.
So we'll say goodbye to Evie wherever she is. She's hidden away now, I think.
Should we?
Yeah, I love it. And I'll let you go. Thank you so much for being on. You've been episode 56, and I'll catch everybody on the next one.
Thanks for having me.